It's the book of Matthew, chapter 24. And starting at verse 6, and the point of verse 6, and it reads, And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. I'll start off, but I will continue in verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in divers places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. I'm going to start off by giving all praise, all honor, all glory to call Haloyam La Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai, Hashem Rachahakodash. Double honors to the elders, to the apostles that I learned this truth from. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akim and the Akwat out there listening and learning, Lord, willingly. This is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, but whom subscribe to this truth. To you, I say shalom. It's Brother Yahweh coming at you with another lesson through the Spirit and through the power of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai. Yahweh meaning He is, He exists, or He to be. By Hashem, by His end, Haz the Hashem His name. Yahushai meaning He saves, or He deliverer. True name to the Most High God and His Son, who these people ignorantly call God, and Jesus Christ, but whose true name in the Paleo Hebrew is Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai. And this lesson is inspired by an article I saw a couple days ago. I was debating on if I was going to go into it, and then the beloved elder apostle, he spoke on it. And I know another elder spoke on it. So, Spirit moving me to speak on it. I got an article, but not going into the 4.5 million troops that Maduro is pretty much. Matter of fact, I know what article I can get because I got too much information pulled up. And I listened to the elders video, and he made some solid points. But at the same time, we in the time of wars and rumors of war. At the same time, the elder spoke on, Maduro talking about pretty much enacting or pretty much not recruiting, but activating or basically readying like 4.5 million people that's going to be like a troop. And the elder made a statement. He said, "Now think about this. He's like pretty much Maduro is capping. He's like, think about this. How he's gonna arm them. You know. And the thing is, right now, the Lord is stirring up that spirit of war. You see wars breaking out throughout the earth. Scriptures talk about in the book of Revelation, which I was just about to get, about how this devil was set up to take peace from the earth. Think about what he did to Greenland. Think of what the beginning, the financial war. They say, financial wars start before hot wars begin. So the tariffs is the financial war. Trade wars, then actual real physical wars. I gotta find that. It's Revelation chapter 6. It says first. Is it even in there? Oh, yeah, it is. This is the book of Revelation chapter 6 and verse 4. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. And we know Esau Edom has the power of the sword because that was a blessing given to him from the Heavenly Father. That's what's that, Psalm 17? Protect me from my memory. I gotta get it. Shit, Slovakia. Maybe I should start praying for strength because, again, I was just listening to a brother say something. He said, I said that to my demon. Being having that sense of entitlement, you thinking what you did is good enough, but the Lord is the judge. You thinking you should get this, but should you? I know when we was homeless, she was like, "Do you think we're gonna get off the streets?" And I told her, I said, "Do you think you deserve to?" It says, Psalm 17 and verse 13, arise, O Lord, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. And we know about in the book of Malachi, it talks about Esau, Edom being the border of wickedness, and border, you know, it's an entrance and an exit. So Esau, Edom is the wickedness begins and ends with Esau, Edom. Uh, so it says Donald Trump deploys 3 missile. That's probably what I'm gonna title it. Donald Trump deploys 3 missile destroyers. What to know? And I'm not saying that nothing's going to come out of this, or Salaki. I'm not saying that anything's going to come out of this. This is just, I believe, the devil exerting its force. You got to remember, I heard the elder say how poor Venezuela is, and Venezuela is poor, but it's not resource poor. It's poor because of the sanctions, and I'm gonna prove all that. Because the thing is, like, like, the thing is, come on, you know how many exports Venezuela got? But the system that this devil set up, the SWIFT system, is a hell of a thing. What you think the sanctions they put on Russia and whatnot? Russia, and I don't think Venezuela all fucked up like that, because think about it. You don't think other nations are going to deal with them? The enemy of my enemy is my friend. It says the United States is deploying 3 Aegis guided missile destroyers to waters off Venezuela as part of President Donald Trump's effort to counter Latin American drug cartels, according to a U.S. official briefed on the planet. Now, like I said, I agree with all the elders on the fact that, Esau Edom does more drugs than, you know what I mean? Like, he's the main consumer of drugs. You got to remember, Esau Edom is the majority in this land, just like like the elder said, you got to remember, Esau Edom ain't really trying to get rid of Northern Kingdom and whatnot. They just trying to control the situation, order out of chaos. They don't want to do the fucking work. And as hard a workers as Esau think they are, from my experience with them, Esau lazy as fuck, for real. Now don't get me wrong, I've seen Edomite, or somebody individual that appears to be an Edomite, and they working their ass off, but I think that ain't an Edomite. You know what I mean? Like, Esau lazy. Think about it. You have all these hundreds of years to have other people do your work, and then they'll tell you that we think we privileged and entitled. I respect the elder that he said, shit, I'm not doing shit. He said, I'm gonna have my slave do everything. As tired as I am. It says the U.S. Gravely, U.S. Jackson Dunham, and USS Sampson are expected to arrive in the region soon, said the official who spoke to the Associated Press on the conditions of anonymity Tuesday, because they were not authorized to comment. Later Tuesday, a White House spokesperson confirmed the deployment to Newsweek via email. The thing is this, like I said, Putin, just like the elder speaking on how Putin and DJ Trump was pretty much in a car together and yada yada yada, and the car said the beast or beast. You know what I mean? Like, they all in it together, but at the same time they all jockeying for position. So they all playing chess. Game of Thrones in real time. That's the way that you got to think about the game of Cutthroat, the game of Monopoly. You know what I mean? Like, these different games, literally, sometimes you work with somebody. You play Monopoly before, you might let this person pass without, you know what I mean? You got the power to let that person pass. You know what I mean? You don't have to take the money, I don't think. I ain't played Monopoly in so long. But I know the game of Cutthroat, for real, which the game of Cutthroat, like I said, you work with the motherfucker, and then at the end, you cut his throat. The mindset of pirates and thieves. That's why they make that statement, is the honor amongst thieves. And in my opinion, the answer is no, because it's cutthroat. Why you think you watch all them movies where, people hit a heist? I mean, don't get me wrong, it has happened, a silent night and all that, but yet still, like, everybody hold water and nobody talk about it. But at the same time, it's like, more than likely, greed is a spirit. Covetousness is a spirit. You know what I'm saying? It says, White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt responded to a question about the reported deployment during Tuesday's press briefing, saying, in part, the president is prepared to use every element of American power to stop drugs from flooding into our country and to bring those responsible to justice. The Maduro regime is not the legitimate government. It is a narco-terror cartel. And this is all propaganda and whatnot. I got a whole different article that I'm about to try to find. Well, I'm gonna bring out some information first because, like I said, I got a lot of stuff saved up. So the thing is this. Hold on. It says, okay, so yes, Venezuela is poor, but Venezuela is poor because of the fact of the sanctions. It says, it has pretty much everything in large quantities on par with giants like Russia, Brazil, Australia, or Canada. That's why Russia's not really being affected by the fucking the sanctions that Babylon the Great putting on it. Come on, Putin and Trump, and that just show you the level. When you on levels like that, like they can hate each other's guts, but at the same time, they gotta be in a diplomatic manner. Men that reached those levels, literally, like they have rule over their spirit. No, I mean they devils, but you know what I mean. I would know what to do to my enemy. You know what I mean? Like. But then, like I say again, it's chess, not checkers. But no, Venezuela ain't poor at all. It says, but you can rest assured that such abundance is not impediment for a communist government to bring the country into misery. Who do you think the communist government is? The list goes like this. Non-renewable oil, #1 in the world by oil reserves. Venezuela has the #1 oil reserves in the world. Gas, #7 in the world. Iron, copper, nickel, diamond, and gold owns 10% of world reserves. It owns 10% of the world reserves. I don't even know what that is. Reserves, third world largest. Phosphate, carbon, limestone, gypsum, talcum mineral, clay mining. And then it was something else. So it says, are sanctions on Venezuela? It says, yes, the United States has implemented broad and targeted sanctions on Venezuela, with specific sanctions on sectors such as oil and gold, along with a general sanctions framework targeting the government and individuals involved in corruption or human rights abuses. These sectoral sanctions are designed to apply pressure by restricting specific industries and transactions, while other measures like blocking the assets of government aim to isolate Caracas financially. Okay, hold on. Okay, so for those that are not familiar with the SWIFT payment system, okay, the SWIFT system is a global messaging network used by financial institutions to send secure payment instructions and financial information, not to transfer money itself. Countries are sanctioned by being cut off from the SWIFT network, a severe economic penalty that prevents their financial institutions from sending and receiving critical cross-border payment messages. This disconnection disrupts internal trade and finance, making it difficult for businesses and individuals in the sanctioned country to conduct international transactions. So, a significant disconnection from SWIFT, how countries are sanctioned. A significant sanction is the exclusion of a country's financial institution from the SWIFT network. And that's why you got, the BRICS. You got all the countries that know and understand how that system works and how, Babylon the Great operates. So, if they're cut off from the SWIFT system, they have made partnerships and alliances to be able to, still makes do trade and transactions amongst each other. You don't think Venezuela, like I said, I don't think they all fucked up like that. Now, as far as being able to arm 4 million individuals, and even the elder said, they said, yeah, maybe a lot of them won't have weapons. But shit though, it's the spirit. When you go into the history of the Filipinos, which I believe are Jake, like what I was learning was, a Filipino martial art. And like I said, I was getting into it, but I should have learned that at a younger age. You know what I mean? And then again, that's when I recognized, just because one brother, like the Lord got that brother specifically, like certain brothers is into the outdoors and shit like that. Like I could be outdoors, but I ain't all into it. You know what I mean? Long story short, that's just that brother spirit. But point I was making, not to make this about me, but the elder, the guru, he went into like, that's when I found out the history of that. Like they actually fought Esau. They didn't have the technology of Esau, but guess what? They beat him back. So, at the end of the day, if the Lord put the spirit on you, you know what I mean? Like, that's why I said, like, these gonna be some bloody times. Like, I know I hate a YN, but the Lord gonna put some spirits on, or spirit on some of these YNs. They, because at the end of the day, like I said, it's the Most High God that's the Father of spirits. He's controlling the movie. So, I got an article. I gotta find it. Bear with me. It says Trump doubles reward to 50 million for arrest of Venezuelan's president to face U.S. drug charges. So they've been trying to go after this guy, and I believe all because of the I believe this is what they're trying to do. They're trying to cause a coup because you got to remember this man. You got the economic hitmans and whatnot. This man may not physically go down there and rule over it, but they'll put somebody in the rulership. Then they try to put the one dude there, like, what was his name? That looked like Obama. I can't think of the goddamn dude name. They tried to assassinate this man and all kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? It says the Trump administration is doubling to 50 million a reward for the arrest. I forgot that one particular elder. No, I know what who the elder is that did the video, but he went into all the different coups that Esau Edom was behind. Like a lot of shit. He probably behind the shit that happened in Haiti, or is happening in Haiti, because that shit ain't over with. The Trump administration is doubling to 50 million a reward for the arrest of Venezuelan's president Nicolas Maduro, accusing him of being one of the world's largest narco traffickers and working with cartels to flood the U.S. with fentanyl-laced cocaine. And the elder was speaking on like, yeah, it's cocaine down there. It's cocaine in Puerto Rico, which is part of the fucking America. You know what I mean? Like, the thing is, like he said, Venezuela is not the major producer. It was Colombia and Mexico. That's why you got the cartels and they was beefing. I'm not for sure, when I used to be, now I wouldn't know no level. Like I said, I told you, Mala, what I'm saying is like, like brothers watch documentaries and shit like that. So like literally, from what I watched, they said that pretty much because Mexico and Colombia used to beef over this shit. Because you got to think about how much money is literally generated from that. Come on. They said fucking Pablo Escobar had submarines and all kind of shit. Even Vanilla Ice said that. He said he met Pablo Escobar and didn't know who he was. And this motherfucker had planes and all kind of shit. And then he found out who he was afterwards. So showing you how the entertainment industry leads, like, come on, you got entertainers around. Like, come on, they know what the fuck they do. Like, this is a huge, this place wicked. They see, what else? They said he had a submarine. They said, come on, Pablo Escobar literally, they built a prison for him to be in just to make it safe. And he still was selling drugs while he was in the fucking prison. They would bring bitches to him. So just imagine how lucrative, because this place, Babylon the Great, is a moneymaker for Esau Edom. And they about to shut that bitch down. That's what the point of all this is. China, Moab thinking they got next. Why do you think all the movies, what's that one movie with Bruce Willis, where he basically in the future they was able to, like, they developed time travel, so they would basically, if you like went off, they'd send you back to the past, and Bruce Willis was a hitman, he'd just take you out. And basically he was fighting his older self was fighting his younger self. Showing you how, it's a battle between yourself. That's deep. That's the analogy I got out of it. But I can't think of the fucking name of it. But basically, they told him in the movie, he was like, yeah, he was ready to retire. So he like, I'm going to I forgot where he said he going to. He like go to China, and dude like, I don't want to go to fucking China. I'm going here. He was like, dude, I'm from the future. Go to fucking China. So then he went to China. He ended up meeting his wife. I don't want to spoil the movie. I can't even think of the damn name of the movie. So, but in a few different movies, they promoting the fact that, because, China's trying to be the head, all these, it's showing you like a lot of brothers be saying, all these different nations are jockeying for position. Donald Trump talking about they're going to be, the place that manufactures the chips and digital technology. China already. I mean, just imagine if you go over to China, it's probably so crazy. You already got stores that you go in and literally you don't spend no money. They just everything, literally just taking out of your account. No poverty's working in there. But you got people that still sitting up here talking about this isn't about to come to pass or they can't see it at all. That's a damn shame. You know what's crazy? I was gonna go try to camp and then I felt the drizzling, so I'm like, well, I'm gonna try to go up tomorrow because I got a whole bunch of stuff I got to do. But the point is, nah, it don't look like it's raining though. Like it's like the Lord be testing you so much. I was gonna try to get it in real quick and then get back. You know what I mean? Like it's so funny. Salakia for the rant. It says, under President Trump's leadership, Maduro will not escape justice and he will be held accountable for his despicable crimes. Maduro was indicted in Manhattan federal court in 2020 during the first Trump presidency, along with several close allies on federal charges of narco-terrorism and conspiracy to import cocaine. And, it's that one guy, that black Jake, that was the Marine. I don't think he was a Marine. I think he's like a Ranger, a sniper for the Army. I can't think of the dude's name, but he got them dreads. And he was on a podcast basically saying how corrupt, he worked for this motherfucker, saying how corrupt the government is. Just like, that's why they not going to convict P. Diddy, because if P. Diddy was to get convicted, he already got it set up. Literally, them tapes are going to get to flying. And all them politicians that's literally involved in that shit going to come out, and you going to really not, that'll be the eye-opener that people need. That'll really, like, get this shit started. Them red-blooded Americans, that's why they said they wasn't going to release the Epstein files. They keep on playing with everybody about that. Oh, we going to release them. Oh, 30 names mentioned in the Epstein. But then the judge recently just said he's not releasing the file. They just like playing with you like you're a little kid, man. So my opinion, which, everybody ain't got to say their opinion, but the spirit, I was going to do a lesson on this yesterday. I just so happened did one, so, and then I ended up seeing the elder speaking on it. So I'm not trying to buck up to what the elder said. No, I agree with a lot of points. Well, at the same time, again, I just look at it like the Lord's storing up them spirits of war, because you got to remember, the third woe come up quickly. So I had some scriptures on just war. Because the Heavenly Father is a man of war. This is the book of Exodus chapter 50. It's like Exodus 15 and verse 3. And it reads, the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is a man of war. The Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is his name. It tells you in the book of Isaiah 13. In verse 4, it says, the noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. Because the Lord's storing up the hearts and spirits. Scriptures talk about how the king's heart is in the hands of the Lord, meaning his mind. So he's stirring up these nations for war, Now, again, in order for this, the beast system is not just going to be in one place. Just like they got the SWIFT system in place. And then people think that's far-fetched. They got a system that if you're not on board with it, they can just block you out. So they about to bring forth a system where if you don't have that tiny technology, you're going to be blocked out from buying and selling. And, my brother used to make a statement. He said, conversation rule the nation. So, it ain't just talking. In order to buy and sell, you got to communicate. It says, kingdoms of nations gathered together, the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua of hosts mustereth the host of the battle. So it's the Lord basically, stirring up the minds of these leaders and these rulers and these kings on the earth to muster, and that's what Maduro's saying he gonna do. Shit, that's a threat. And maybe they don't have the technology to fight against, them like that. But you never know. You'd be surprised. I remember my little nephew, when he was like 13, literally got into a little boy. He wasn't really scared of the boy, I don't think, because, like, his spirit, like, my little nephew just got out of the motherfucking service. My little nephew was a lot like my father. He a thinker. So, like, he literally paid a little boy to beat the other boy up so he didn't get in trouble. But it still came out and got found out. You know, my nephew was born on the same day as my father too. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even the Lord and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. And this place is going to be utterly destroyed. How ye, for the day of the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt. You know, Scripture talk about the mighty man clutching their loins for fear. And the mighty man is a man of action, of war. You know, so if they're gonna be in fear, how much more so, you know, these feeble men, you know. But the scriptures also say, you know, the feeble amongst them shall be as David, roughly paraphrased. So Lord, you know, gonna mount up with strength for even the weakest amongst Israel, if you are of that number. This is verse 8, and they shall be afraid, pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames. Behold, the day of the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua cometh cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. Zephaniah chapter 1 and verse 15, and it reads, verse 14, the great day of the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is near. It is near and hasteneth greatly, even the voice of the day of the Lord. The mighty man shall cry there bitterly. That day is a day of wrath, a day of trouble and distress, a day of wasteness and desolation, a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness, a day of the trumpet and alarm against the fenced cities and against the high towers, which it means is government. And ultimately, all this is going to lead to this place being judged by those ICBM missiles, which we know are mentioned throughout the scriptures. You know, Second Ezra, you know, 15, 16, you know, Isaiah, Jeremiah. This is the book of Malachi, chapter 4, and verse 1. For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, and all that do wickedly shall be stubble. And the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch. But unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings, and ye shall go forth and grow up as calves of the stall. And that's what we hoping in. Because, you know, again, when you take time to, you know, brothers go and do research and look into, you know, the technology that this devil been blessed with, you understand the power of an ICBM, you know what I mean? Like, when you recognize the power that the Most High God, you even look at a storm, just like the magnificence of the Heavenly Father, and you see how inconsequential you actually are, you know, if you really keeping it 100 with yourself, you be like, you know, I don't give a fuck how mighty you are, you know, all the John Bone Jones, or, you know, Muhammad Ali's or Mike Tyson's, like, that shit is inconsequential. You know, we insignificant when you really take the time to really think about it. So when you realize the devastating power of an ICBM, you gotta keep it 100 with yourself and realize you're not gonna be able to save yourself. It's, you know, man can't even, some of this technology. My phone acting up right now. I don't trust in this fucking devil with his technology. You know what I mean? The devil will do something, and then after he done did it, you know what I mean? Things that the devil has manifested in this world that actually don't, that they actually are more harmful than good. The invention of plastic was one. You created something that's actually can't be broken down, and actually now you got to go going throughout the earth. But these goofy ass peons think that this man is benevolent. I'm having trouble with it. That's tongue twister to me. Benevolent, benevolent. Call all you like y'all, but Shemel Shai. You know,
They believe this man is majestic when this motherfucker is the devil, the most low, the based, or the low, most based individual on the planet. So again, with this, devastating judgment that's coming, the only means of salvation is through divine intervention. And, the Lord, the believers, we believe that the Lord is going to send, which how far-fetched it may seem, you know what I mean? I remember, there's a nigga I knew from where I grew up at, and when I got locked up one time, I hadn't seen him in years, and I seen him. And that's who put me onto the Game of Thrones. Now, this is a nigga, though. Like, this is a nigga that will, you talk about some bullshit, y'all gonna get to you squabble. You know what I mean? Like for extra sake, you gonna squabble this nigga all in the streets. But he was never a stupid dude. And he put me onto the Game of Thrones. And I remember one day, some niggas was up there and they like, what do you read that shit for? He like, you believe that make-believe, made-up shit? He was like, nigga, you read, you know how they got the little jailhouse books where they be, because it's a whole market for niggas where they, they think they gonna sell drugs or, you gonna become the kingpin or the pimp or whatever the fuck. He was like, nigga, you read that fat EC ass shit, you think you gonna come home this time and you about to be, like, he said, that's your fantasy, nigga. He was the first person that put me onto the Game of Thrones. And the books is way better. But anyhow, as far-fetched as it may seem, to the believers, it don't seem far-fetched. We see the chariots. Shit, remember when all them chariots start being revealed and then they try to throw out drones? They sent them drones. Like, that was the best attempt they had to literally try to cover that up. So Esau cooked, man. I would, even if I don't get beamed up, if I could just see, you know what I mean? Like, I'd be content with that. You know what I'm saying? I thought that shit tickled me so much. I say, this nigga, this best he could do is come up. Everybody seeing these motherfuckers filming and everything. This nigga come up with some, oh yeah, we gonna send some drones. Isaiah chapter 26. So this is our salvation. This is what we trust in. Because again, when you gonna look at the power of one ICBM, let alone 200 million, this is the book of Isaiah chapter 26 and verse 20, and it reads, come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers, the chariot, and shut thy door about thee. Hide thyself as it were for a little moment until the indignation be overpassed. The word indignation goes into righteous anger. The wrath because of the wickedness of this place. The Lord is going to actually send forth to Babylon the Great. For behold, the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity. The earth also shall disclose her blood and shall no more cover her slain. I'm going to reread that in the NLT. Look, the Lord is coming from heaven to punish the people of the earth for their sins. The earth will no longer hide those who have been killed. They will be brought out for all to see. And that's going into Revelations right there. The Lord is revealing everything. The Lord is even going to reveal the righteous and the wicked, So we at a time of pretty much great judgment. So, this is the time to be locked in, be repentant and sorrowful and fear. Because the Lord is not playing with any of us. So with that, I'm going to end the lesson. Lord willingly was edifying. I want to give all praise, all honor, and all glory to call Elohim La Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Hakadosh. Double honors to the elders, to the apostles that I learned this truth from. Peace and salutations to the Akim, plus the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth with faith and sincerity, as well as risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akim and the Akwat out there listening and learning. Lord willingly, this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, and subscribing to this truth to you. I say shalom. Till next time, Lord willingly. Shalom, shalom. Kwam Yasharallah. Mawat Lababah.